first ever Men's Physique Mr. Olympia, Alan Thomas. I think I'm still ranked number 2 in the nation of powerlifting. Top 10 all-time world record list. I moved out to Las Vegas here about 2 months ago for Super League. Represented Team USA versus Canada, won the Super Heavyweight, and had the best male outfit score. Me and Mark linked up here, and right now we are transitioning into the Farino legacy, so I'm making the transition to bodybuilding. He's prepping for his pro debut. We're at LBAC in Las Vegas, getting ready to smash shoulders.
Every day when I wake up, I thank God I could take up another moment to feel this sunrise in the morning. I don't have all the answers, but I know there's a reason for the places that I've been, all the people that I've seen.
Place the tension on the shoulders, so in any movement that we're doing is how efficiently can we place the load on the target muscle. It's not necessarily in regards to the shoulder press here, how well we can recruit the most amount of fibers to complete the motion. We don't want to lift the most amount of weight, we want to work in the most efficient manner the muscle that we're trying to target. We're not bothering anyone, like we're not.
Even so, yeah, because I worked at the North Club myself, and I see people, doing that recording, and even then they had to, I had to get it approved, by like Lindsay or one of those guys for that recording to happen. Phones is a different story. Like if you have your phone and you're doing a little recording on the
Essentially, isn't that the same thing?
It's the same thing. Yeah, but
we're just trying to put quality content and hope people out what we're doing.
But they still,
What all we're trying to do is have a positive, impactful contribution to the fitness world, to people who look up to what we do and what we've excelled at and the walks of life that we've taken. And maybe that's just like the Las Vegas mentality. I don't know, it's the media. But I guess someone complained and you don't like us filming. I'm trying to be nice. Hopefully we don't get kicked out of here. That'd be super shitty.
Could be made up, all my hopes could be too high. Fight the odds with my
someone who was a trainer in spite that was envious of Mark, and if this is the case, I'm not sure the best approach to handle this type of confrontation. Confrontation is the last thing that I want. That's the last thing that I'm worried about. That's not relevant to my goals, not relevant to my chase, or to anything that I particularly care about. But I would like to ask this man to his face, to confront him, just to see the rationale of what he would justify. Is this a positive contribution to fitness? This could be a lesson on the mental...
When you start training,
train at your gym. You wanna go to his gym then? Not today, not today. We'll do it another day.
You know why this
I've noticed since my time in Vegas here, it's been about 2 months. I wish we could get candid shots here. We might be able to. I could be the nicest person. The way that I approach people, so delicate and gentle. Maybe it's his Christmas outfit. Is that what it is? Lexi, my sister back home. This reminds me of an outfit she would have wore back in the 10th grade. Because I love her. But anyway, as nice as I can be as nice and as kind as I want to be, people are still assholes here. It's very discouraging. I gotta keep going. Alan cries. So superset, side raises, upright rows. So, what he doesn't get is that as the first ever Men's Olympia, I only know this because I'm coming from chump change, Joe Job wannabe guy. Naturally, he's going to bring out the insecurities in anyone who, I don't know, is envious of him. And he doesn't understand that. I'm trying to explain that to him, I'm trying to help him out here, but And that's just the struggles of a mental prep of old age, dad bod, whatever he's fighting, I don't know, but one must stay focused. People only have the power that you give them. It's just that point where, I mean, it's a natural part of any prep, any shred process. You're gonna run into mental barriers. There's not a surplus of nutrients. So whenever the gas tank is empty, you are aware, and especially in times where such extreme physical demands, where, you know, our bodies are machines and we run off fuel. So during this time when we're trying to decrease, eliminate the most amount of fat in our body, it's such a delicate process. I forget. I'm tired, whatever. Alright, I'm trying to play median middleman here. There's a trainer that works at LVAC. This is only my second time here.
Make sure you didn't get anyone in the back.
Yeah, just do your best to stay on people's way. Mark believes that he's the one that ratted on him. I don't know how clear Mark's thoughts are right now, but it's interesting because we're getting ready to go do an exercise, probably face pulls, hit with another system of rear delts. And he's over there. I can feel my blood pressure rising with the thought of the possibility of tension unraveling. I do my best to try to stay patient in times like this, to be kind. You know, we're all just trying to make our way, whatever. But there are times too where I can be irrational and patient as well, and I hope that doesn't happen right now. So I apologize ahead of time, but I think I'll keep it cool. We are rerouting now. How symbolic for life that is. We're into the upstairs part now. Completely different scene, completely different environment. Less ego, probably not less ego. It's probably the same, just a different form of ego.
A million mistakes, but we made it out fine. This life, yeah, it always finds a way to lead us to these
making the transition from the powerlifting world. In powerlifting, a way to efficiently train in order to progress is to train your motor patterns. So between the 3 lifts that make up powerlifting, one will acclimate to the motor patterns of the movements. And no different, the same concept can be applied to bodybuilding movements. You'll notice almost on all opening exercises, I'll pick a light weight and focus solely on the isolated tension of the target muscle that I'm trying to emphasize. And I'll do 20, 30, 40 reps just because I'm so in tune and feel the muscle that I'm pre-exhausting, that I'm getting ready to work, so that the motor pattern recruitment, muscle fiber recruitment within that movement is that much more efficient whenever you get into your working sets. All training is, in progress, is a forced acclimation. We're trying to create a more intense stimulus so that the body has no choice but to respond in the way that it acclimates to the way that the stress that we're subjecting it to.
good life with a couple bad times, a million mistakes, but we made it out fine. This life, yeah, it always finds a way to lead us to these
Mark's girlfriend, super hot. If I went up over there, I'd probably have a panic attack right now. Just like this girl over here. If I flash it over, I'd have a panic attack.
good life with a couple bad times, a million mistakes, but we made it out fine. This life, yeah, it always finds a way to lead us to these
Typical evening for me. We never train that late, but I feel like now, I think it has to do with my exhaustion levels, my fatigue. I'm a little run down. Therefore, I up the caffeine, which probably 3 days a week. I don't do it every day or consistently, but when I do have the caffeine, that affects my sleep schedule, and that carries over into the next day. So I sleep in. My fasted cardio session is always a little later. Then my meal prep time, my client time always gets pushed back, and then it led in the culmination. Pow! Just a later session this evening, and that was the first time that I was in LVAC 2, whatever. So typical night. Now I do 2 training sessions, sometimes 3. I come home, and this isn't home. Who am I fucking kidding? Las Vegas is not my home. I feel like it's built around visually exciting things. Things that make people excited. It's a very transient place, and I feel like because of the nature of like the societal dynamic, people are very, I feel like people try too hard to be something. It's like no one comes to Las Vegas to settle down. Like, you know, I don't think I would come across someone who would say, yeah, I moved to Las Vegas to start a family. Which is why I don't like this place. There's nothing that's out of normal here. Anything goes in Las Vegas. And when they say Sin City, I think it applies to on a more literal sense than what most people would be able to fathom. It's like an underlying wolf of a dynamic in the structure of society and what drives people. I feel pulled in different directions, and I'm not sure if the intent is genuine or sincere, and I'm not saying that I have been the most sincere person in my life. I think that is how we learn from our mistakes, is in times that we regret the person we've been. We're all in a constant state of evolution and progression, and just ultimately working our way towards trying to find a sense of peace, love, acceptance, at the root of what drives us. I always try to explain to people how bad, if you don't believe this is not a thing, ADHD. And I never used to have an issue with it, but I feel like just in recent times, I've created a life around nothing but relevance, and it hasn't always been easy. It's been a tough ride, like creating the dream, but it's coming together, and it's super cool. And deep down, I'm really excited and scared too. But where was I going with that one? If anything, I guess I could just talk about fitness. And it's difficult for me because I started out as an athlete, and I got into fitness because that is what my dad did. That's what my mom was into. So that's just naturally like what I learned to do. Like there was love backing the introduction of fitness to my life, and in times where the scenario unravels like that, it's a different type of passion. It's not out of insecurity, which is normally where the transition into the fitness scene originates. A prime example, like you see it in movies all the time, like the 9th grader looks up to the senior because he has a crush on this girl, and the girl is going out with like the high school quarterback. That stereotypical scene, Saved by the Bell, like that. So it's all based around, essentially it's a dynamic of a culture that we've created around the value that we place in sports, and indirectly to thrive within the realm of athletics, it would take just a more superior of a human. That's all fitness is just I say this all the time, an acclimation. The body is capable of anything. Literally, you can sculpt it, mold it, and become more flexible, stronger, move faster, quicker, because I've done it. I wish it's a little more difficult now. I always think about my run in football. And I'm like, wow, if as strong as I am now and as big as I am, but the things that I would contemplate is the amount of time. So when you're running, like, be like below your knee, above your knee, the quad, hamstring in there. Now, I'll explain this one. Your body is in motion. The ligaments, the tendons, all having to do with stretching as well. When you move at a velocity, now I'm trying to put this into relevant terms and explain it in a way that is understandable to the most amount of people possible. This is why I wanted to be a writer too, but more so along the lines of like sappy shit. Okay, I'll explain it this way. If I were to do a sprint right now, and this has been back because I've tried it several times periodically over the years since I've been outside of football as like a semi-adult child, kind of. If I were to sprint right now, I would pull something, regardless of how much I stretch, regardless what I do, because the way that I would move my muscles is in a way that they haven't been moved. They haven't been moved at top speeds like that, and I think I'm still the #1 ranked squatter in the nation. I'm not sure. My mind is in a different realm. I cannot breathe one thing. I've always been like a 3-sport athlete. I have to move beyond things, and indirectly because of how that's transitioned from powerlifting to bodybuilding to super league, my long distance running marathons. I feel like I should take a break soon. It's so fun to compete though, and you can do anything. That's what's cool about it. It's so empowering too, just internally to set goals and to conquer them. That is something that needs to happen. That's like a part of the human existence. That gives us pleasure as people, and indirectly we do that. Whether it's paying bills, just conforming to society, integration. What's weird is that over the years I've been able to mold my body like this. And it's literally taken the value of superficial beauty away, because in all phases of me, I've always been liked and disliked blindly, or just been unaccepted if I was good at something, and it was like a combination of that and not having very good social skills. I feel like that was really hard for me growing up, and just like understanding of social dynamic and how to interact with people. I even say that now too. We've entered a time, ADHD alert, yeah, awful. But this is a good one. We've entered a time where the way that we use the English language, that there's so many cliches and overused words and words without meaning and things we say blindly, or people don't understand what they say exactly. Or maybe it's just the value we place in words. That might be from my solitude. I spend way too much time alone. If anyone's following my shred right now, it is on point. It's only because I don't really have any friends here. But I just love training. I mean, I know to interact with people. I remember growing up, I moved so much, and it was never like real far. It was like within like a 30-mile drive, but back and forth between schools. So, and I played sports growing up, and that's what I excelled at. Moving like that, people knew who I was, but I never really had a chance to make any friends. Except from 1st to 5th grade. 1st to 4th grade, 5th grade was the longest that I'd ever spent in one place. And it's funny because I hold on to that stretch so long, the friends that I made there. I mean, I had best friends there. I remember having sleepovers. Why don't people still have sleepovers? I feel like I get tired of adulting. As does everybody. Oh, got it. Pro tip, coaching tip. since I've been out here in Las Vegas, it's allowed me to see a more accurate portrayal of the fitness industry, of social media, you know, the power of social networking, and the influence that it has, and the people who have a strong influence, and also the amount of knowledge they have. Okay, never mind. From a coaching standpoint, do not base your exercise selection based off of how cool someone looks doing the exercise, or how sculpted the muscle looks doing the exercise. What that person did to get that muscle, everything that is a culmination leading up to that point. So what they did to that point, you don't know. You don't know their style of training. Just all you see is the finished product. And for instance, you should base your exercise selection off of, you know, the things that you're trying to achieve. That is what should make up you know, the movements that you're doing from a progressive standpoint, from a physiological, you know, the structural standpoint. And just what's fun too. You know, I mean, it should be fun unless you have, you know, extreme goals, or you have to stay, you know, so strict to a regimen, a diet regimen, or training, or whatever, that you have to follow the most progressive and efficient approach. But I mean, if you're just a regular gym goer and you know, you want to have a beach bod, you want to look good, you want to feel confident, you want to be healthy, whatever, yeah, also do things that you enjoy doing, which means, leads me to the next topic, how ignorant the majority, I don't want to say ignorant, that's aggressive word, unknowing. There's so many different styles of fitness, so many different exercises, movements, variations, angles to hit muscles through, you know, an infinite number of exercises. And they all can contribute towards any long-term goal. Just because you do something, just because you're doing a bench press, does not mean that you have to be a power lifter. You know, you can be a power lifter if you want to compete in powerlifting, if you're a powerlifting fan. No, actually, I take that back. I think if you want to call yourself a powerlifter, you do have to compete in powerlifting. Or that's any sport. I mean, like, if you don't compete in bodybuilding, you can't call yourself a bodybuilder. But yeah, and this is where, just don't base your exercise selection off of, you know, the people who are influencing you and how shredded they are, you know, how cool their look is. No, I don't even want to use any names, because I wouldn't mean it offensively, but I know that it would get spun that way. But just because someone looks shredded, or just because you guys see me do something, and I happen to be in a state where you can see that muscle particularly working, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get this muscle by doing that exercise. It will contribute to that, but there are so many variables that go into my exercise selection. Nothing is on accident, but at the same time, who I am at this point is the culmination of my entire life. Of, you know, indirectly I've done this just through love and joy, and that's why you shouldn't compete with other people. Leading into my next topic, compete with yourself. Compete at any given time. You can take an introspective look inside you and know what your flaws are, know what your insecurities are, and I'm sure there's tons that you're unaware of, that you just subliminally respond to whenever it's triggered, but it hasn't happened enough times to really have to identify that. I guess I should go into some training advice now, since I walked right into that one. I was trying to get a shower here. Before I go into that, know that, so I'm saying this specifically because it's my first video that I'm trying. So I missed the YouTube generation, and I don't watch YouTube videos. You know, maybe like the real big famous people, but other than that, I really don't know. So you're going to watch the evolution of my tech skills here. So be easy. Training. Way too broad. Yeah, I need feedback before I get into that one. Shit. All right, shower.